Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a video where I'm kind of just jumping on a thread. I saw Mazzy did a response to this, and I believe he said Dave Newton, or you guys know him here in the VC, that he was the one that kind of put it out there, and yeah, I just thought it was a really good question. It was kind of fun. I enjoyed watching Maz's response to it, so I just thought I'd jump on board myself. So here's my response to best opening tracks, best album openers. So side one, track one. Some of the best songs that when you put on an album, put the needle down for the first time. This is the first song that hits you. So I think that we're trying to stay around 20 or so. I think I ended up picking out 21. But the other thing I tried to do in pulling stuff out is maybe kind of staying away from some of the stuff that a lot of us would already agree are the number one type of tracks. So stuff like I mean, how many things can you pick by Van Halen, or Motley Crue? You could do Live Wire, Doctor Feelgood. All they have a few different picks you can have there. Um, yeah, I know Pink Floyd, AC/DC. There's Kiss, Rush. There's tons that you kind of automatically know. So again, I tried to pick some things that there's still some that are pretty common, but maybe some that aren't so common. And I would love to kind of get your thoughts and know if any of you guys think some of these belong on the list. But here are 20 great album openers in my humble opinion. So we're gonna start here with the Stooges. This is Fun House, and it's the song "Down on the Street," which is my favorite song by them. And I love that song because it just has so many awesome elements to it that come in, fantastic. There's a, kind of a funk type of groove to it. Um, excuse me. And in some weird way, there's also kind of a sexiness to it. And then there's also a somewhat of a punkish feel, especially on the kind of more on the chorus side of things. It's just it's just a perfect song. It's my favorite Stooges song actually. So as an opener, I got to put that on the list. So again, Down on the Street. Another one here that may be a little forgotten, but definitely one I think worth going back and mentioning. Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. I think this came out in, was it 88? Something like that, 88, 89. But yeah, the song What I Am, which was I guess kind of a one-hit wonder for them. But there really is a fantastic song and a great opener. Especially for me personally, when I first heard this back in, I guess it was maybe junior high or high school, um, it was a neat song or whatever else. But I have found it kind of interesting that as I've grown up and matured and I've, discovered jazz and discovered different, world music and just being able to listen to music in general in a different way and then going back and listening to this, it really does kind of enhance the appreciation for the different flavors that are in that song. I mean, it really is a very, very nice piece of work. So, What I Am is definitely one I'll put on that list. And then this one for me here, which is my boy Rod Stewart. And this is Out of Order, kind of going into some of Rod's 80s stuff here. And I think this is from 88 as well. But I know some people don't like 80s Rod. I freaking love 80s Rod Stewart. I thought some of his best work over his career was done in the 80s, and I just love it. And this is definitely one of his big albums with Out of Order. Now, the big hits at the time off of this were, of course, Forever Young and My Heart Can't Tell You No. I mean, those were the gigantic hits that got all the radio play and everything else. But the true hits off of this album is the song When I Was Your Man, which is the closing song on the album. But the opening track is Lost in You. And again, those are two of my absolute favorite, especially 80s Rod songs. Uh, so Lost in You being the opening track here is a fantastic opener. So yeah, love Rod. Switching over to another great band that sometimes we forget to mention on a regular, which is the Stone Roses. And of course, the opening track here is "I Want to Be Adored." Again, just a fantastic track in my mind. This fantastic mixture between kind of what the '90s was bringing and what the '80s gave us. You know, very kind of synthy with the guitar, and you know, no complex guitar solos. It's just his smooth vocal and that awesome freaking groove. So yeah, I Want to Be Adored definitely has to go on that list. Next, we're gonna go with a little '90s Clapton here, which is his album Pilgrims. Again, you know, it's kind of one of those time periods when maybe some of Clapton's stuff gets a little bit overlooked, but this is a great album. And the opening track on it is My Father's Eyes, which again is it's Clapton doing his Clapton thing. Beautiful, beautiful track. And the second track after that is River of Tears, which is probably my favorite song off of the album. But My Father's Eyes is right there with it. So again, great opener, great album from Clapton. And then let's dive into the kind of dream pop or synth pop realm. This is the band Tycho, which they do it as well as anyone. But you know, pretty much kind of an all instrumental, you know, type of album. But it's just that whole synth floaty dream pop thing that I love so much because mainly because it takes me back to the '80s. But the opening track it's called Awake, and it is, you listen to that and you kind of know everything you need to know about Tycho. Fantastic band. Next here, this is one where if you are an Isley Brothers or Ron Isley fan, or if you are a Hendrix fan and for some reason have not heard this, you better jump on board and, you know, grab a copy or get online and take a listen to this immediately. And this is a Funkadelic Maggot Brain, and it's the opening track off of here, which is Maggot Brain, going right into, you know, Can You Get to That? Just, I mean, a fantastic opener, and it really is one of those things that I kind of feel this track shows why Hendrix became Hendrix, because Jimmy knew how to take the soul and the feel of blues and R&B and put it into rock music, you know, with the distorted guitar, and he brought those two worlds together as well as anyone could ever do. And Maggot Brain is exactly that exact same thing. So, you know, throw that on, listen to the open track, and you would swear it was Hendrix or Ron Isley that was playing the opening for that. Just fantastic, beautiful instrumental piece with a guitar that'll just make you melt. Not the kind of track actually you would expect to find on a Funkadelic album if you're not familiar with the band. So definitely make sure you check that out. Now, this is probably one of the more common / give-me's, I would think. Jethro Tull with Aqualung. And of course the opening track being Aqualung. Fantastic track, just so creepy, so weird, so creative. Definitely my favorite track by them. And another really fantastic artist that I discovered after I really got into the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack, which goes for a few. I mean, Jillian Welch, Lucinda Williams, Alison Krauss. Discovered all of them after really getting into Oh Brother Where Art Thou. But yeah, this is Alison Krauss in Union Station, Paper Airplane. And the opening track is Paper Airplane. So again, fantastic opener. But really, this entire album is great. I mean, if you like the country / folk type of thing, just with the smoothness and beauty of her voice. And, I mean, yeah, not only that, then you also have, you know, I forget what's his name. He also did some of the stuff on Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Songs like Dust Bowl Children, Lie Awake, Lay My Burden Down. I mean, just beautiful songs. So again, if you're not familiar with that album, make sure you check it out. And one of my top 3 metal songs of all time is Cowboys from Hell. So since it's the opening track on this, how can it not make this cut? So again, I don't have to say anything about that. Just one of the most beast of a song from start to finish. I mean, once that song pulls you in and it gets going, it just does not let go. It's perfect. Next, we're going with The Church. This is the album sentence here. Now, my absolute favorite track by The Church is Under the Milky Way, but my second favorite song by them, which is on this album, is Fly. Is the opening track there. And very short song, simple song, not very complex. It just shows that melodic, soaring nature that was the church. And it's my, again, fantastic, fantastic track. Next here, we're gonna go with another goodie from the junior high, high school days, which is Dawkin, Back for the Attack. Fantastic album. Definitely one of the albums that really stamps its mark on my hair metal days. And the opening track is Kiss of Death, which is just, even the guitar intro from that song alone, just makes it such a killer opener. I always like to tell a story about this because I've talked about my friend Matt from junior high, grade school and junior high back in the past, who was the one that introduced me to all things heavy metal and hard rock. You know, all the Zeppelin I learned about, the Queen I learned about, the Twisted Sister, on, all came from him. And his brother was also a DJ at a radio station in the 80s, so you can only imagine what his record collection was like. But his mom had this huge stereo system in her bedroom that he would pull out the speakers out and, you know, fire them downstairs when we were hanging out, and he was just always blasting music. And when this album came out, we could not get him to stop playing it for anything. And he always talked about, I just love how Kiss of Death kicks in, the guitar with the Kiss of Death. He just could not stop playing it. And so not only did we like it, but he beat it into our heads by doing that. But a lot of other great songs on this too. You know, Night by Night, Heaven Sent, title track Dream Warriors from excuse me, from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. So fantastic album, without question. But yeah, that album, and he played a lot of different things, but Back for the Attack and OU812 by Van Halen were the two albums he could not stop playing when he got his hands on them. But moving right along, Sepultura, this is the album Roots, and the opening track is Roots Bloody Roots. And again, the best way you can describe that song is that it's just like a metal tribal chant. I mean, it's just the whole concept behind this album, from the feel they were trying to create to the artwork to like the song Roots Bloody Roots, it just all falls in place of just straight tribal power. And Roots Bloody Roots is a perfect example. Awesome groove to that song. One of the greatest synth bands of all time, of course, Depeche Mode. Gotta love them. And one of my favorite songs by them, definitely one of my top 3 songs by them, is Love in Itself. So, of course, with that being the opener on this, gotta put that one on the list. Again, to me, that song sums up all things that's fantastic about Depeche Mode. And it's so wonderful that they put it on the music on vinyl pressing. Arguably, if we were talking about best opening tracks ever on an album, you know, top 10 ever, this would be one of the ones on my top 10. And it'd be off of the album Zap, and it's the song More Bounce to the Ounce. I mean, that song, and maybe for people that aren't as much into, you know, the R&B and hip hop, especially kind of old school, you know, may not be as familiar with it, but Bounce to the Ounce is probably responsible for more hip hop songs than maybe any other single track ever. I mean, that song is just one of those ones where it was studio perfection, and just had such an influence. And I can easily go to my rap and hip hop section and pull out 20 songs that are direct note for note samples off of that song. So yeah, just in Roger and Zapp in general, when you look at their entire catalog, you can't even begin to fathom the number of hip hop artists that have sampled something from Roger and Zapp. Those guys just created funk. So More Bounce to the Ounce for sure. Next, we're going to go with one which I'd be curious if anybody else is kind of digging this one as well. But this is Gladys Knight and the Pips. This is All Our Love. I was going to say For Love. Kind of more of Gladys, you know, 80s stuff. People tend to know, you know, more of her 60s and 70s stuff. But Gladys had some pretty good stuff in the 80s too. And off of this album, the opening track is Love Overboard, which is one of my favorite songs by her. Just, you know, something about it I just really like. I love her delivery in it. But yeah, so that makes my personal list. Again, if I'm doing a video of top 10 best grooves ever laid down on an album, this is going to make that list, which is the song Best of My Love by The Emotions off their album Rejoice. That the groove in that song is perfection. Could not be made any better. And the ladies delivered it perfectly. So for an opening track, Best of My Love is definitely one that any R&B artist from that day would have loved to have had on their album. Next, we're going to go with my girl Annie here, Annie Lennox, off her album Diva. You know, Walking on Broken Glass was a huge hit off of this, but the opening track was Why, which again, I think not only is it just kind of a great song in general, but I think it's such a wonderful track because it's one of the songs that completely captures everything that I think is amazing about Annie Lennox. You know, the I always like to say the soft power that she can deliver in her vocals, where she can sing something so soft yet it's coming out so powerful with her voice. There's such a softness and sweetness. She had a heartache inside of it as well. And when she kind of gets towards the end, just the beautiful way they bring in those soft string parts towards the end of that song. Again, it really is just a beautiful work that really captures everything that's amazing about her. So that definitely goes on my list. And then I got last three here. The Sundays, Static and Silence. Opening track is Summertime. My favorite song by them, and just not to mention how her voice just makes me melt on that song. Oh my gosh, especially when she goes into the chorus, it's just like the most beautiful, soothing thing you could ever hear in a million years. And I love it. So that definitely has to be one of my favorite opening tracks. The last two, an album I've known for a long time, but just like 2 or 3 years ago, for whatever reason, it just went up 15 notches for me. And this is Blue Oyster Cult, The Revolution by Night. Fantastic album. Opening track, Take Me Away. You know, the epitome of just that great 80s hard, you know, that guitar rock type of thing, you know, done the way that Blue Oyster Cult can do it. Great, you know, high soaring vocals. And one of the things I think oftentimes gets overlooked in that song is the guitar solo. I mean, it's mean, it's right there, and I'll put it up against just about any other guitar solo out there. It's just a powerful riff, and I just think it's one that just doesn't quite get its due. So Take Me Away, fantastic song. The other great track off of this is Shooting Shark. If you're not familiar with that, make sure you check it out. And last but not least, I'm going to put the Psychedelic Furs on this list, Mirror Moves. And it's the song The Ghost in You, which again, I think it's just again my favorite song by them, and it's just one of those songs that sums up everything that was beautiful about new wave pop music in the 80s. It's definitely captured in the Ghost in You. The melodies, that kind of Britishly not off key, but that vocal, I don't know, it's just absolute beautiful track. So there you go, VC. Those were some of the ones that I felt maybe wouldn't be as common, but definitely are, to me, all fantastic. So let me know what you think. And as always, we will talk to you soon. And thanks for watching, guys.